Hi guys, in today's video, I actually want to talk about why I became plant-based. Obviously, you've seen my videos with healthy recipes and I've been talking about the benefits of a plant-based diet, but I haven't really spoken much about why I became plant-based and what triggered it, how I felt after, why I continued to follow a plant-based diet, and just my experience in general. So I thought it would be fun to actually just share that story with you and give you a bit of context and insight into my whole experience. On the screen, you're going to see the chapters of the video, and on my channel, you're going to find healthy plant-based recipes, nutrition videos, self-development, and all-around wellness content. So let's get started. So where did it start? Honestly, it's actually a bit tricky to try to think of exactly pinpoint where it started and when it started and all of that. But several years ago, I remember sitting actually at my sister's house, and we're sitting at in the kitchen table, and I don't know, I was just telling her, like, I just want to get healthier. Like, I just feel like I want more for myself. I don't feel my best. I just feel like I want to make changes. I really want to start doing healthier things all around, with my food, with my workouts, with my lifestyle. I just wanted more for myself. And honestly, I think that's really kind of the intention that I guess I had sent out to the universe. And things kind of unraveled from there over the years with my diet and my food, but also other aspects of my life in terms of like lifestyle and stuff. So I kind of had that intention, and I really believe that, like, now that I look back, I really believe that I kind of put it out there and then things kind of came along my way. I remember a time during Corona and like the midst of it when we had lockdown and stuff, and I was just really being like super unhealthy on so many levels, from like just eating, like emotional eating with like all the stress that was happening and the uncertainty that was going on in the world. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, Miral, cut it out. Like, what a blessing this is right now. If I wanted to look at the bright side of lockdown, it was the fact that we paused, the world paused, and we actually had the luxury of time sitting at home to do whatever we wanted. It's the time that we're never able to find in our usual life. So what can I do with this precious time while I sit here at home to make more use? Anyway, I remember my sister was reading a book she had recommended at the time. It was How Not to Diet by Dr. Michael Greger. And it was just explaining what a plant-based diet is. So she was like, it's so interesting. Like, we hear about plant-based, but like, we don't really actually know what it is, like why it's so good for you. I was like, okay, whatever. I ordered the book and I just thought, let me like read books, like do something useful with my time, learn new things. Anyway, I read the book, and basically the book is in two parts. I highly recommend that you read it. The first part talks about the top 15 causes of death globally and how diet and lifestyle is directly linked to them. It's all evidence-based nutrition, so it talks to you about like the statistics and the research and all of that, which then leads to the following point, basically saying like it's a plant-based diet, is health promoting. And then the second half of the book just explains what is a plant-based diet, like what do you eat on a plant-based diet, what don't you eat, and blah, blah, blah. One of the benefits I immediately experienced was my bloating subsided. Like, I had chronic bloating for years. I used to look pregnant when I wasn't, like constantly just bloated. And I didn't understand that. And really, in hindsight, like, it's really funny how a lot of us experience certain things that are common, but they're not normal. But because they're common, we think that it's acceptable. And we don't really literally stop and pause and try to cure it or try to address it by seeking the professional help, by doing research from reliable sources and trying to get down as much as you can to the bottom of it. I got a boost of energy and all around felt super light, clean. I felt like it was so clear to me, like what I should be eating. Like, it became so natural, simple, easy to really understand like food in a different way. Like, I really improved my relationship with food. And a whole food plant-based diet, a predominantly whole food plant-based diet, really is kind of what you shouldn't eat, but also equally what you should eat. So, I love that. I love that about this diet, because you're really, think of it as if you're playing like a game. It's kind of like you're the character and you're trying to collect as many points as you can. So I kind of look at that in a sense with food. It's like, oh yeah, berries, let's get some antioxidants in there. Like, it became a game of like, how am I nurturing my body, fueling my body, like really caring for my body. Like, it's the highest form of self-love, self-respect, when you really take the time to eat good, eat better, make adjustments, to learn more, to do better. And then I got certified as a holistic nutritionist just to take it a step further. I had family members become also plant-based and reap the benefits from it. So one of my family members had chronic constipation and had to do 2 procedures for it. Only when she switched to a plant-based diet did that immediately subside. I have another family member who also had high cholesterol and is in the family genetically and stuff. And when she switched to a plant-based diet, her numbers improved significantly. And another family member who is diabetic, when he switched to a plant-based diet, of course, he did it very responsibly and in alignment with his doctors and being well read about it and doing it in a very responsible way. Within 5 days, his sugar levels improved significantly. He reduced his insulin by 40%, his insulin dosage by 40%. And then also within 2 weeks, he reduced it by a total of 60%. So he switched to a plant-based diet a few months after I became plant-based, and me witnessing this massive impact on his health really gave me even additional motivation and proof of the benefits and what's possible. You can see people's stories or testimonials or whatever, but like when you see a family member like right in front of you like experience that and their numbers speak for themselves and the energy, and like it's like literally he was walking around with like 30 kilos of weight on his shoulders because he's over medicated. Seeing that immediate like shift and boost of energy, and it was a no-brainer for me. And then from there, I started to post on my social media. I started to post plant-based recipes. I started to try to educate the community like around me. And then I started to take it more seriously. First, it was for like friends and family, like people that, you know, like that follow me. And then I kind of changed my account to be public so that I can, you know, reach a wider audience. And that's kind of then became not only my personal lifestyle, but then it became also what I do as a career for a living. What I then did was I gradually shifted the children as well to a plant-based diet. Now, they're not 100% plant-based. They are 95% plant-based at home. I just cook plant-based food, but when we're out, whatever they want to order, when they're at their cousin's house, family, friends, birthdays, never ever told them you can or you can't, unless they're like eating too much of the processed stuff and the junk food and stuff. Obviously, like I cut it off at some point. And then there was also my husband, who appreciates the health benefits of plant-based diet, but he's not plant-based himself and he never was, but started to eat a lot of the food that I have at home, which was plant-based. I'm very grateful that I had also that support system where he kind of respected my choices and was okay with the plant-based food that I was cooking at home, but he also still had the food that he prefers at home and when we go out and stuff like that. So I wasn't attached to any specific diet label. I obviously promote a plant-based diet or a predominantly plant-based diet, or promote people eating more plants. It's not about the label, it's about what the evidence-based nutrition is recommending, and I'm kind of following that. We only know a drop in the ocean about, you know, nutrition, and I think we really need to just not feel frustrated by it, because sometimes we're told eat this, don't eat that, and then later on another study comes up and that says no, eat that, don't eat this. We just have to accept that that exists and that's the reality, and you know, we need to be a bit flexible, we need to keep an open mind, and we need to evolve and adapt to what the evidence-based recommendations are. And so if tomorrow there are certain recommendations that are saying, you know, this is lacking, or we need, you know, like there are certain recommendations that are like been proven to really make a difference, then I'm going to reconsider and evolve and adjust accordingly. And just a clarification about a plant-based diet, like it's not veganism. It is and it's not. Like people that choose to eat a plant-based diet, eat it for health reasons. Now there's also 2 other reasons that some people choose to do it, which is for the animals and or the environment. So there's 3 reasons. Some do it for 1 reason, 2 reasons, all 3 reasons, or a combination, any. But I entered this world for the health reasons. I then became aware of the other benefits, and they were all became plus bonus points. A plant-based diet also does not mean you can't eat any animal-based products. You can. It's not veganism. You can, because you're doing it for health reasons. So therefore, ideally, on a plant-based diet, you're not like, again, in terms of health reasons, you can be vegan and eat junk food, and you can be plant-based and eat healthy food, right? It's the same kind of food that you're allowed or not, but it's the keeping in mind the healthy food, right? Like plant-based diet means you're eating healthy plant-based ingredients, so whole foods, keeping processed ingredients to a minimum, etc. The definition of a whole food plant-based diet is when you predominantly eat whole plants, so plant-based ingredients, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, while you avoid 2 things: the ultra-processed food, even if it's plant-based, the deep-fried, like all the, you know, junk food, and where you're avoiding animal-based products, so animals, so chicken, fish, and meat, and also dairy and eggs. You're avoiding it. I do follow a plant-based diet, but I am also a bit flexible. So what I mean is I don't eat like the animals, but I will have some dairy and like occasionally if I am limited with options. If it's a birthday cake, something along those lines is when I will have some food that contains dairy. I think it's really important to talk about that because there's pros and cons with labels. The pros is that there's clarity in terms of the direction. The cons is that sometimes it's boxed up and people think like you're either in here or you're not here at all. You're either in here or like you're not going to get the benefits if you're not within the specific square. Everybody should do whatever makes sense for them and their circumstances. And so I've tried both spectrums of like being super, super strict and then where I've given a bit more flexibility because I think for you to say something long term, you really need to take into consideration what that would look like for you. I think you need to really take into consideration your partner, your family, your children, your environment, your financial circumstances, your stress levels, your work responsibilities, the options in the supermarkets and the restaurants that are surrounding you. Like there needs to be room for that. Not everybody's going to have the same circumstances. One of the main reasons for my flexibility as well, and I don't think my version is the right version. I think my version is the right version for me. I think, first of all, having a husband who is not plant-based, there needs to be also some sort of like consideration and accommodation. I'm not living in isolation, like I need to have some sort of flexibility there. Also, like just being in environments, like I can't be stressing about food or every single detail of the food being plant-based or not when, you know, you're out socially. So I've spoken about why I became plant-based and I want to kind of re-emphasize why I continue to be plant-based because I continue to really enjoy it. I continue to really reap the benefits for it. Like honestly, just the fact that I don't have chronic bloating that I experienced for years, that I have more energy, I feel more focused. Like that in itself, like is the reason why I continue to do it. One thing I experienced was there were some family members and friends who rejected this choice that was such a personal choice of mine. Everybody had an opinion about it. Everybody was worried about my protein and my deficiencies, and everybody then became nutritionists. Like everybody's sitting there trying to, you know, have an opinion. And I'm like, first of all, I got certified as a holistic nutritionist, so I made sure that I'm doing it responsibly and supplements where needed and do my checks and blood work just to make sure I'm on track. But like you're on a standard diet and you don't even do that. Like why are you so concerned about my health? I don't sit and tell you about all this kind of food that you're eating and that is highly processed and the sausages and the salamis like and the cold, like I don't sit and have an opinion about that. It was quite hurtful, to be honest with you. And I continued and continue to hear comments every once in a while from people about like, let's say it's, I don't know, like something that's like we've ordered different food or we're somewhere and that there's a plant-based dish and they're like, oh no, I'm not going to eat that. You know, and they'll say like things like, oh, I'm not going to eat that crap. You know, you already eat plant-based dishes all the time that you never knew were plant-based. Like hummus is plant-based and you eat that all the time and you love it. You love it. Now all of a sudden, if that dish is plant-based, that you're like all repulsed by it. So like there was a lot of that I didn't expect. Another thing I experienced is like social settings. So like you go and, you know, naturally like whether people knew or didn't know that I'm plant-based, but like not having options to like eat from. But then with time, like I have amazing people in my life, honestly, friends or acquaintances who like, if I'm going over to their house or for like really go out of their way to make sure that there's plant-based options, which some that didn't put that consideration in, but like there's the majority that were so, it's a reflection of their character, of like respecting other people's, you know, like, and just like being accommodating and hospitable and people would make sure that there's something for me to eat. And I never expect anything from anyone. Like it's a choice that I made because I know how, no, a lot of people don't even understand, they don't know what they are. So like, and I didn't before as well. So like to have to figure out how to make something that's plant-based. Oh, is that cheese then? I have to also, how do I do the bechamel without, you know, that make it plant-based, and how do I this? And some ingredients that they'd have to buy, like really, like I can't say how much I appreciate people till today that are really making the effort, like really so like, so much respect for them. So like not wanting to burden people with that, but then also at the same time being in situations where there aren't options. And that's where I think I would be more flexible in eating. Like for me, it's about like the social setting and like connecting with people. And so I'm totally comfortable personally to, you know, eat dairy and be vegetarian in these circumstances. And also when travel, I didn't know that when I travel to really think about like the fact that there are some destinations that really were limited with options. It was very frustrating. I think just as a parting message, I think it's important to just, I know that sometimes there's a lot of confusion about what is healthy, not healthy, what the recommendations are. There's so many conflicting information out there. I think what's important is to always stick to reliable sources and build from there. The World Health Organization, they've got information there. There's nutritionfacts.org is a website about like evidence-based nutrition and like the different recommendations. You can search up different things, ingredients, topics, and see what the recommendations are. I have my list of reliable resources that I go to for when I'm kind of stuck on something. It's never going to be 100%. It's going to be to the best of our knowledge, and you go with it and you put your faith in it and you just kind of, like run with it. And of course, like if you have a special medical condition, of course it needs to be in alignment with what your doctors are saying, and also making sure that the doctors you are seeking also have an open mind, like they're not anti this and anti, like, and there are doctors all around the world, some of the best, in different parts of the world that you can also try to consult with if you need people who will give you a non-biased, evidence-based recommendations. That's what my parting advice for people that feel also a bit uncertain about those things. I think there are two ways to approach it if you want to eat a more plant-based diet. Is you kind of go all in, or you do it gradually to the best of your ability. Remember, this is a long-term game. If you do it where you're trying to do it quickly and abruptly and then you get overwhelmed, you're going to end up quitting, and what's the point? If you like this video, then make sure to subscribe to keep that energy flowing so it can help me reach more people and continue to grow my channel and continue to bring you content every single day. On my channel, you'll also find healthy recipes, other real talk videos about nutrition or healthy living, lifestyle, wellness, and so much more. So I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.